Greetings all. I hope you're doing well. Okay, getting to today's topic. I've been getting a lot of questions recently about why I do what I do. Why do I continue to fight this uphill battle, these immense odds against the empire, the government, whatever you want to call it, when so many have come before me and tried to enlighten people and they have failed? So to answer that question, I have to start in the beginning. And the beginning was in 2011. On New Year's Day, if you recall, there were lots of birds and fish that were reported dead worldwide. I went on to study this, and I discovered that all the birds and fish that died had a little magnetic receptor in their brain. And this magnetic receptor would help them navigate the ley lines of the planet during the migratory seasons. So they would know how to survive. They would know which currents to follow and which, paths to follow in the air so they could migrate for the winter. Now, when I got home that night, I remember seeing dead birds, and this was in Tacoma, so it was everywhere this happened. And it was funny because a few days before that, I noticed technicians were working on the cell phone tower near there, and they had been working on it for like a week straight. So I honestly feel that that had something to do with it. I can't say what, other than I feel that we're all under a complete control grid via all these towers, radar towers, cell phone towers. To me, the sky is electric. The sky is a hologram, and you can manipulate the weather with these towers. I'll leave you a link in my video description to that. That's another topic altogether. So anyway, I got home on that day, and I went about my business, did my laundry, and then it happened. I can only explain it as an expansion of consciousness. I just knew things. I knew how dire the situation was on this planet for freedom and liberty, and for people who want to become sovereign. I just knew how dire things were. We live in dark times, everybody. We really do. And it's veiled under all of this modern technology and music and society, and they try to make you feel great about everything. But the truth of the matter is, things are not great, everybody. Things are terrible right now on this planet, in the shadows, behind the scenes, on the greater level of what's going on, a galactic level. So it wasn't until that moment that I finally affirmed the truth. And when you affirm the truth, it changes your personality. And I was forever changed. I always knew things were wrong on this world, but it wasn't until that day I found the courage to begin speaking out about it. And it isolated me from many people. It isolated me from my family. It isolated me from my job. I quit my job because I was talking to customers about chemtrails. I said, hey, why don't you go home and look up on your computer chemtrails and geoengineering? And I was well liked there. I had good customer service, and people liked to talk to me. So they started doing it, and then they would come back in and tell me, hey, they were talking about this is weather control and, weather manipulation. All of our weather is by design, and it was really mind-blowing stuff. And I said, keep looking into it. You'll find more. It leads into other topics. So one day, apparently my boss got wind of it, and my boss used to work for Boeing. So he pulled me into his office, and he said, you cannot talk to them anymore about that. And I said, why? Is it just like talking sports to them? It's just like any other topic, isn't it? He said, no, it's not. You cannot talk to the customers about this. And I said, and if I keep continuing to talk about it, are you going to fire me? And he said, yes. And I said, boss man, it's a damn shame. I've worked here for 7 years. I've always been good to you. I've rarely ever been late or absent. I've always given you my best. And because of this one single issue, you would fire me. And he said, yes, I would. And I was going to ask why, but I'd just be a waste of my time. He wouldn't tell me anything. He's a multimillionaire. He's an Asian guy. He worked for Boeing. He knows the truth of what's going on. And he's obviously one of the people that are trying to keep it concealed. And that bugged me. So right then I said, here's my 2-week notice. I quit. You're not going to fire me. I quit. And I did. I left behind my job. I left behind my apartment. I left behind everything to come back and live with mom and dad. A, because they're getting old and they need me, they need my help now. And B, because I had to start a new life. I knew if I was continuing to work in that matrix environment every day, which was killing me inside slowly and spiritually, I would not be able to find time for myself, to educate myself, to find a way to actually change this world. And I'm glad I did, everyone. It was a big leap of faith. I took a big chance. I have taken the road less traveled in life, but fortunately has rewarded me with knowledge and with ambition and righteousness and virtue, attributes of Jesus the Christ. So I finally began to pull myself out of that lifestyle, and I knew I had to do these things, and I'm glad I did, because I found what I feel will be a big catalyst in free energy and electricity, of which prototypes I am still constructing now. It's been a very slow work, but things are coming together. Fossil fuels are going by the wayside, and these renewable energies are going to be the next big wave of, investments in technology in the world. So ultimately, everybody, why do I do what I do? Why do I fight these immense uphill battles? Why do I speak out of things people would think are science fiction, conspiracy, or insanity? Because of you, everybody. I do it for you. And I do it because there's not enough people yet on this planet doing it to change things. Every single person counts. Every voice counts. It really does. I remember when I first started making videos on YouTube, I had no subscribers, and I just was speaking my truth. Speaking things that I know are honestly genuine and are from the heart. And it wasn't long before I found myself with 1,000 subscribers. So my one little voice is making a difference, everybody, and I'm going to continue speaking. I do what I do because think of how bad this world would be without people like me, without those who spoke out against tyranny and corruption, without those who would do research beyond what we're taught. We're not taught about chemtrails. We're not taught about weather manipulation in school. We have to learn those things for ourselves. And in order to do that, you have to take the road less traveled in life. You have to pull yourself out of that matrix. There is no other way to do it and affirm it. And I'm really glad I did, everybody, because I see that my life goals, which are abolishing fossil fuels, which are abolishing debt-based currencies, and which are abolishing government in place of people becoming sovereign, producing their own electricity, their own food, their own clothing, their own everything. We don't need the government. We really don't need them, everybody. But because they've become such a incredibly vast and huge machine over all of us, we can't find the way to get organized like they do. It's going to take the catalyst. I'm not sure what the catalyst is going to be. But when it does come, there's going to be chaos everywhere, because many people are not going to be able to handle it. But people like me are going to know exactly what needs to be done in that chaos. We are going to become the leaders. We are going to be bringing order through chaos. Because we know what to do. We know how to stock up. We know where to go. Because we've studied these things, unlike most everyone else. So, ultimately, everybody, I do it for all of you. Because I love all of you. And I want everyone to see and to experience the world that I wish to create for everybody who is willing to enter it. I wish for everybody to have that higher level of education, to know the truth of all things. The holographic power structure, they call it, instead of the pyramid. In the pyramid power structure, you have levels. And most everyone on this planet is on the bottom. Civilians, slaves, foundation. They're not given education, money, resources, everything else that the higher levels of the pyramid are given. But in the holographic power structure, everybody is equal. Or at least everybody has the chance to become equal if they choose to be. So, I guess that's why I do it, everybody. And I'm going to keep doing it. And I see signs that it is happening every day. And I guarantee in my lifetime, we're going to see the end of fossil fuels. We're going to see the end of debt-based currencies. And I hope that we will also see the end of the need for a government. And I've told everybody, I have the plan. I've done speeches on it. I've studied the law. I've studied money. I've studied hierarchy. I've studied history. I've studied geography. I've studied all this. I have the answers, but you have to hear me, and you have to believe in me. And most importantly, you have to believe in yourself and your own ability to find solutions to these things. So I hope that you'll heed my words. I hope you'll realize that I really do what I do for you. Even though it has isolated me, it has complicated my life, it has, caused emotional turmoil for me. But everybody who's in this line of work makes a great sacrifice. Knowledge comes at a price, and often that price is sacrifice of some sort. So, I guess I'll leave it there, everybody. I love you all very much. I hope you will heed my words, and Trust me when I say you can find a better way. We can do this. We can organize. We can become sovereigns. And be well.